I was designated Best Emerging Photographer by the San Francisco Museum of Art when I graduated from the San Francisco Art Institute. And I showed my photographs for many years in Europe and in Japan and throughout the United States, but nothing prepared me for the response I got when I started stacking rocks. It was just simply amazing. I took a few rocks, put one upon another, and I could feel something happening. I'd always wanted to do sculpture, but I didn't really have any inclination to stack rocks until the day I started, and that was just 3 years ago, almost to the day. The initial feeling was one of grounding. I'd have the energy, and I'd take my hands and I'd place them upon the rocks, and then I just would slowly find their natural place, and they would come up, and then they would stay, and I would feel calm or grounded by it. But some of the pieces I spend time on, I'll be stacking 6 or 8 or 10 stacks, 6 or 8 or 10 rocks high, and so I'll spend hours on it. So I find that my mind travels through thought patterns and intellectualization of what is going on, how the pieces fit, why they fit. I don't try to make them fit, but I'm always amazed by them. Each time one stays, I go, well, how did that happen? Or why did it happen? One moment it was about to fall and suddenly it stays there. I find the rocks to be a metaphor for people, that in our society and education, people are always trying to make square bricks out of things, and they're trying to lay the bricks in place, and they're trying to bring one and then another and build things out of them. And I've always felt that system was weak. One thing is for sure, with these rocks, it's the difference in the shapes that make the difference. It's the fact that each one is unique, and each one has its own quality. So you just take any rock, and you place it upon any other rock, and it's just its own special place, and it's just a natural thing that comes. And then suddenly, it stays. And I find that to be one of the most amazing feelings about it, is the recognition that you don't try to control it. You try to let it come out of the rock itself. You let the rock speak. To be honest, the first few friends of mine who watched me stacking rocks thought I was just crazy. And there was no other thought in their mind whatsoever. Nothing would have convinced them. We'd just been through 2 floods, and they were sure I was having trouble coping with the pressure, which of course was really true. But I saw something special in it. And then I noticed that people were stopping constantly. And people would be driving by, and I didn't live on a main street, but people suddenly were driving by frequently on this main street, on this side street, and people were telling people, and people were coming by, and everybody wanted to know, like, do you glue them? How do you keep them up? Is it steel rods? What is it that you're doing? I tried to explain to people that I was balancing them. And what I discovered was people don't have balance in their life. They get up in the morning, they have to go to work. They're told they should do this, they're told they should do that, and they don't feel they have balance or control in their life. So it was a concept foreign to them. Then one day I just said, well, you know, it's just gravity at work. And then suddenly it became clear to people, oh, science, I don't have to understand science, that's a rule. And they could look and they go, oh, and they'd walk away and they'd understand in some way better. They were less confused by it, they were reassured. So I find that now that I've moved over to the Carmel Highlands and I'm on Highway 1, people are stopping every day. Not a day goes by when I'm out there that there isn't 2 to 3 different carloads of people stopping every hour. And in the last month, I've had my first tour buses stopping now, so the tour buses stop and say, would you like to speak to us? So it really is, I find it refreshing and interesting that so many people are finding something whimsical and joyful in the rock stacking for themselves. I certainly find it. Originally, I was stacking the rocks in Carmel Valley, where my first major piece, the Village Rockway, is in the process of being built. But I was hidden off on a side road and wanted to move to somewhere where I could share the experience with more people. So I've moved down to the Carmel Highlands, right alongside of the Chevron station and the sculpture gallery there in the Highlands proper. And I'm building a garden called Gravity Gardens. This is a roadside attraction, a little showcase for my artwork, a place for people to stop and visit. There's a couple of picnic tables they can eat at, but it's open for people to stop and see the work. I'm in the process of building it. I've brought down around 35 tons of rock, and I'll bring down around another 50 or 60 tons of rock over the next month or two. It's open every day. It's open just generally for people to walk, but please don't touch because the rocks are only held up by gravity and they will fall.